I want to thank everybody for coming this morning. We're very pleased at the library to have this dedication of 4 donations to the library from 4 wonderful families in town. And I'd like to acknowledge a few people. Our head librarian is Pam Jacobson.
Hello. Thank you for coming.
And we have members of the Board of Selectmen here, Mr. Snow and Mr. Murray and Mr. Cummings. Don't know where he went. Oh, there he is. And we have people over from the town hall, from the various offices. We're very pleased to have them with us today, and all of the families who could join us today. We're very pleased to have you. We're going to start with the donation of to the bookcase from the Hampy family. We were very pleased to receive the donation, and we asked that a bookcase maker make something special up for the library so that we could display our books. And David, could you
Sure.
talk about this?
My name is David Masher. I'm one of the trustees of the library. We were sort of tasked with coming up with something to display what else books at the library, and I worked on a TV show for a few years on PBS called Rough Cut. It's a woodworking show, and one of the woodworkers, Eli Cleveland, is a wonderful designer. He's not just a furniture maker, he's more of a furniture designer, and he's the guy behind the scenes on the show. And we spoke to him about doing something for the library. He was very interested, very much a supporter of libraries, higher education, what have you. And we took some photos, and he was tasked with coming up with something that would fit with the style but was sort of forward-looking, possibly a bit modern, but could still support books and not tip over, as a lot of modern furniture is really more for just looking at. And we decided to look at a few of his drawings. He came up with different plans, and this one seemed to fit well in the form of the library. There's lots of curves, you'll notice, in different areas at the tops of the bookcases, and yet there's a lot of space for books, and you can see through the sides, so it doesn't get in the way of the books, the display. And the funny part of it is we just got done editing all the shows, and they've actually taken this design and they did a bookcase for the show for next season off of this design. So it's going to be on TV for what it's worth. But he did a great job, and as far as I'm concerned, it's perfect for the space.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Very, very much. Let me step back a little bit and introduce myself. My name is Joe Perry, and I'm the chairman of the Board of Trustees for the library. And again, I welcome all of you to. If anybody has, Mr. Hampy, would you?
No, it's fine. I like it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
She would approve. And a few of the books in the display, I spoke to Mr. Hempe, and he mentioned that Sheila loved gardening and cooking, so
Okay.
we purchased a few books that have the book plated there in her memory. So that will be for everyone to enjoy.
The second person on our list is Daisy Marshall, and our trustee, Michelle Ford, would like to say a few words.
Well, I'd like to thank Daisy's family, who, in lieu of flowers, requested that folks who remember Daisy and love Daisy make donations to the library. We were able to collect some books to make the Daisy Marshall collection, and including the Salem Witch Judge, which Daisy was a descendant of. So this one is prominently featured. I never knew Daisy, but as I learned about her, speaking with her daughter Libby, what I liked that I heard was she was very founded in the community. She was a den mother, Girl Scout leader. She was in the Grange and the Historical Society. She taught kindergarten. She worked in the kindergarten, and she was a member of First Congregational Church. But at the same time, she would open books and just travel anywhere she wanted to go and experience new things. And as I was listening and learning about her, I thought, isn't that exactly what you want a library to be? founded in the community, supporting the community, and at the same time opening doors to limitless opportunities for the patrons. So I'm very pleased to have her associated with the library, and I'm proud to have worked on it. And hopefully the library will continue to emulate her and open doors and support the community. I didn't know if you wanted to speak. Her daughter Libby is here, and her brother Lee and his wife Phyllis. So we thank you for coming as well, because we didn't have days.
The library's very grateful.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you. The next individual that we'd like to honor or receive the donation from is Jean Grover, and yeah, we're going to go down. And Jean was the town clerk for many years and followed her husband into the office, and we welcome today's town clerk and to be here with us today, and I'd like to go down and see the railroad clock that was donated to the library. It's not an atomic clock, but it does keep accurate time. And we wanted to find a spot in the library where our patrons could find the time and be cognizant of the fact that the clock is available. We could spot it throughout, and it's very visible and a very nice feature to add to the decor. Our town treasurer, Jackie Beechan, would like to say a few words about Jean Grover.
I know Jean would be very pleased with this. What I would like to say is I knew Jean for many years from the first day I started working at the town hall. She welcomed me with open arms, and just her laughter alone would just make me laugh. But something that was very important to Jean, and that was family, friends, and work. And that she always kept through her whole life. And all of us that know, and I see a lot of people out here who know Jean, we all think the same way. We miss her a lot, but she would be very proud that. And there's something else about Jean. She would also come to the library almost every day. I would call her a frequent flyer of the library. And her laughter we'd all hear it everywhere. That we miss her a lot, and she at least will be on time. We'll look at that and always be on time. Anybody else?
Jackie, the only thing that's missing is the color blue.
The color blue, that's true. I'm not.
Jean loved the color blue.
Yes.
As you might notice in the Christmas time, the spruce tree in front of Town
Yes.
Hall is planted in memory of Warren, her husband. And she purchased and always kept and maintained the blue lights. That's why that tree was always decorated in blue lights. It was for Jean and for Warren. So, and as somebody on the light department, I felt very strong about having that continue. So that was a good thing.
Yes, well, every time we pass by the town hall and see the tree with the blue lights, we think of Jean Grover.
Absolutely.
And another thing, if you were Jean's friend, you were friends for life. And she knew that. And like I said, we miss her.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Murray. And we have one last dedication, and it's over in the history room, and from a longtime family of the town, the Jewetts, and we have the Jewett family crest. And if we could all go over to the history room.
She was born in September 27th, 1946. And she passed away a few years ago. She had a heart transplant when she was 50, and then when she was 62, she contracted lung cancer. Not on her outside skin, but on the lungs, on the outside of her lungs, and then it went to the inside of her lungs. That's what did her in. But she lived for 12 years with a transplant, heart transplant, which is unusual today. She lived in Connecticut. I was president of the Jewett Family of America for 10 years. My father and mother were instrumental to keep it going. They're buried out here. My grandfather, Amos E. Jewett, who many of you know, did know, He's got books here somewhere. I don't know just where they are, but I think you have all the books that he did. The Rowley Marshes, and there was one other pamphlet type book, and also Rowley Mass. He and Blodgett did the Rowley Mass book. And then the Jewett genealogy books, volumes 1 and 2. 3 and 4, my mother did, and when Ted Herman was president of the JFA. I live in Maine now. I've lost contact with a lot of people. And one nice little lady came over to me just a few minutes ago and wanted to know if I was a Jewett. And I said, yes, I am. We used to play dolls when we were kids. That's kind of a few years ago. We lived in the village. That's what they called the village, was from the Rowley line to the pumping station. It used to be called the Ipswich Village. And I think it was broke off from Rowley a million years ago or whatever. And that's where Alice O'Brien used to live, and I and several other kids in the neighborhood, and we used to have so much fun. So we built a house there, and when we built our house, there were 18 houses in the village, and 16 of them had been built by Jewetts. Years back. And I've been in every one of them. So we had a farm, and of course I had to work. My sister Judith didn't have to do anything because she wouldn't do it.
The Jewett Family of America has a strong relationship with this library. They
Yes.
donated, there's a plaque behind Jackie over there. They made a substantial donation when this building was built.
$5,000. I was president at the time.
And we
I was
also have-
instrumental in doing that. Also, there's David Jewett up there, Admiral David Jewett, and my husband and I traveled to Pennsylvania to pick him up. And we had him in the back of our van for about 2 weeks because we couldn't get back to Rowley right away. And I'll tell you what, when we got him down here and he was gone, I missed him. I really did. I thought, I missed that guy. He was such a nice person. But anyway, it was an honor to do that. It was an honor to be invited down here. I really appreciated it. Thank
We're
you.
honored to be able to display your family
That's very
necklace.
nice.
Yeah.
I have no idea who painted it. I have a funny feeling about it, but I don't know. My mother never showed it to me. I never knew. But that's how things were years ago. So anyway, yes.
A Jewett built the Congregational Church.
Yes, yes, that's why we have our reunions there. Is because they did, the Jewetts did. There were 2 brothers that came over in the 1638, something like that, and they were textile merchants. One was Joseph Jewett and the other was Maximilian. They're both out here. They were textile merchants, and I always say that I took up where they left off, because I've been in textiles one way or another all my life, and I love textiles. And I used to own a quilt shop. I was the first one in New England to open a quilt shop down in the village. It was called the Silver Thimble Quilt Shop. And that was bought by 2 different buyers and was in Kingston, New Hampshire, and they changed the name, so it's no longer. But that's okay. That's the way things are. So I have quilts galore. We need to sell them, get rid of them. My boys we have 6 sons, and they all have 2 quilts, some have 3. And it's really quite and they're all,
Very industrious.
well, I did. I had it for 18 years, so. And so it was a lot of fun. Met a lot of nice people. And so that's how things go, you know. Then we moved away and moved to Florida for a few years, and then moved to Maine. So we live in Acton, Maine now. But we will be buried out here. For sure. There's a Jewett plot right over here with my mother and father are. Excuse me?
Hopefully not for a long time.
No, I hope not. I hope not. So anyway, I'll be back to Rowley anyway, one way or another. So I don't know when Natalie got that from my mother before she died, and I only saw it once when Natalie came up from Connecticut to one of the reunions. So other than that, I have no idea who painted it. There are no initials on it that I could see. I saw it once when she came up and she had it with her, and that was about it. But that's how things went when families way back. I have a beautiful needlepoint that my aunt did in 1940. My father's brother's wife, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And she gave that to me, and it's hanging on my living room wall. And someday maybe the library will get it, because the boys are boys. If I had a daughter, maybe she would have gotten it, but I don't have one. So that's about it. If you want to ask any questions, you may. I recognize a few people here. Oh, let me tell you what. Daisy Marshall is my sister-in-law's sister-in-law. So my brother Alfred married Mary, and Mary's brother married Daisy. I don't know which brother it was. I can't remember which one it was. Richard. I didn't really know the boys. I just knew Mary. And Alfred passed away when he was 66, I think, something like that. Walter died a few years ago. My brother Grenville died last year. Yeah, he had Alzheimer's, and he kept falling down. They sent him to Fresno, because he lived in California, to the VA, and the VA evidently didn't do any but just put him to bed. And they sent him to a hospital in another town, and they said, oh, he's very ill. We'll find a real big hospital for him, which they did 2.5 hours away from his house, so his wife had to drive back and forth. Anyway, they found out that he had had colon cancer, and no one knew it. That's why he kept falling down and all that sort of thing. And so my sister-in-law called me and told me that they didn't expect him to live for the weekend, and he didn't. He died 2 days later. So they're gone, and I'm the oldest left. I have a brother, Edward, who lives in New Hampshire and Maine and Florida, and then Judith, who lives in Wolfboro, in a little town next door to Wolfboro. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, and that's all that's left of us. So the Jewett family of America is now run by someone out of town. He's no longer a Jewett from the village or from Raleigh. I do want to say that my grandfather, Amos E. Jewett, was instrumental in getting the Historical Society up and going way back in the teens, I guess.
1918.
1918. There's a little booklet that Doris Furberg and, gosh, I can't think of his name, that was president of the Historical Society, Desjardins?
Ed,
Yeah, Ed. Okay, they put together a little book with all the antique homes, etc. And the last few pages, I think, there's a Jewett on a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
That's my uncle.
That's the Images of America book.
Yeah, that was my Uncle Grenville. That was not my father. My father, at that time, was in 09. He would have been 9 years old. And my Uncle Grenville was 9 or 10 years older than my father. So, and just to clarify that, if you have one of those booklets, you can put in there Grenville Jewett.
Yes, I'm after you. These things can't be lost.
Janet, this is the Raleigh Eagle. It is an immature bald eagle. And for years we tried to figure out why this flagpole was here, or this piece of wood was here, why he had actually mounted it this way. Actually, what happened was, the train was coming into the Raleigh station. This eagle got hit at the time, and when the train stopped at the station, they discovered it, and it was hanging on to the flagpole. So Charlie Houghton, who is the mounter of the birds in the town hall, and also the ones that are in the library, who was also a library trustee for like 35 years, and died in office at the age of 91. Mounted this bird, and he actually took the flagpole and used that as part of the mount to honor the eagle. So that's kind of an interesting story that goes along with the Raleigh Eagle.
Thank you.